MSNBC anchor Ali Velshi was hit with a rubber bullet during the George Floyd protests last May. He was on the ground reporting live when there was a standoff between cops and protesters. And when he was reporting on it, there was absolutely no provocation coming from the protesters. He kept noting just how aggressive the cops were. And then before you know it, you see him get hit with a rubber bullet. Now, Trump decided to talk about that during a recent rally in Minnesota. Let's hear what he had to say.
I remember this guy, Welchi, he got hit on the knee with a canister of tear gas and he went down. He didn't, he was down. My knee. Nobody cared. These guys didn't care. They moved him aside and they just walked right through. It was the most beautiful thing.
It was the most beautiful thing, violence against a reporter who's doing his job in reporting what's happening on the ground. Velshi did respond to Trump saying, so Donald Trump, you call my getting hit by authorities in Minneapolis on May 30th by a rubber bullet, by the way, not a tear gas canister, a beautiful thing called law and order. What law did I break while covering an entirely peaceful march? But it doesn't matter. I mean, like part of the problem is that with Trump support, like Trump supporters don't care about facts. They don't care about the evidence. They don't care that Donald Trump is lying to them or that he gets the facts wrong when he's doing these rallies. What they love is the feel, right? What they love is Trump pits them against their perceived enemies. And they think, Trump's fighting for us. And these journalists are the problem. The people who are threatening, but risking their own safety in giving us the facts on what's happening on the ground. They're the enemies. Donald Trump is our savior. And just to remind you all of what that scene looked like, here's the portion of Velshi's reporting back in May where he did get hit by that rubber bullet. And as you can see, it did not go down the way that Trump mentioned.
You are now hearing sirens. There are people moving in. I'm not sure what that is. That's an ambulance that's going by. But that is the situation now. I will tell you, I'm going to ask Miguel to just take a quick spin around. Take a quick look at this, Miguel. We got protesters now moving closer in. The police continue to fire.
Ali, it sounds like they're chanting, do it, like they're daring the state troopers to fire on them again. Is that, am I?
All right, guys, I got hit. Yeah, I got hit. Hold on.
Let's come back out for just a minute. Ali Velshi is standing by on the scene with us.
I mean, just notice how far away he is from the state troopers. Like he's far away, he's just reporting on what's going on. If you watch the full video, the state troopers had used tear gas canisters against the protesters who were protesting. They were very far away from the state troopers. They didn't pose any type of imminent threat or risk to them, but it doesn't matter. We've seen in city after city, case after case, very similar treatment toward protesters who weren't doing anything other than practicing their constitutionally protected rights.
Yeah. Look, I think mainstream media is an enormous problem. They clearly favor what they consider to be the centrist position. In fact, they find it outrageous that you would hire anyone that isn't centrist. And now that's of course the center of Washington, not of the country. So that makes most of the mainstream media very right wing, especially on economic matters, and dead set against progressives. And they have just obliterated progressive candidates, and often with lies and out of context stories. It's just been an abomination. But the difference between us and the left wing and those guys in the right wing is we actually love journalism. We want there to be great journalism. We want there to be bold, strong journalism that challenges people in power, that challenges the government, that challenges both political parties. The way journalism is supposed to be. You don't have to get to our opinion on things. That we have plenty of opinion. We don't need your opinion. But we do need you to be objective, not neutral to both sides. We do need you to actually be factually correct, not politically correct, and say, I don't want to offend Republicans, I don't want to offend corporate Democrats. And we need you to open your eyes so that you can actually see what the whole country is thinking instead of what everyone in your country club is thinking. So now, all those things are big problems with the mainstream media, but they're not to tear it down. The right wing wants to tear it down so that he could replace it with propaganda. He could replace it with Fox News and Rush Limbaugh, etc. No, science isn't real. What did Trump say the other day? Actually, science doesn't know, actually, he said. Because 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4. We want you to think that it equals 5. And the minute we get you to believe that it equals 5, we've won. Then you'll believe anything. Then I could shoot someone on 5th Avenue and get away with it. So that's the right wing purpose. And so now they've taken it to a different level. That's shooting a reporter. Now it's with a rubber bullet. So at the end of the day, he wound up being okay. By the way, you take a rubber bullet to the eye and you will not be okay. And people have died before, but at a minimum, you should be deeply concerned. If a right wing pundit got shot with a rubber bullet, I would say that's wrong. And that's not hard. That's not remotely hard. I would say it's wrong if the cops did it. I would say it's wrong if protesters did it, etc. But here's Trump, the president of the United States, joking around. Yeah, we did. Remember when the reporter got shot? Oh, and then he was crying about being shot, and the crowd's going nuts. Yeah, shoot the reporters. Yeah. Okay, so and by the way, and how do reporters respond? So they responded with outrage on Twitter about this. Another reporter from NBC said, "I've covered a lot of dictatorial governments, and even their leaders pretend to care about the press and never openly say that it was a good thing that a reporter got shot. The worst dictators don't say that. So, okay, good on this front, right? At least from about a dozen of them or so that I happen to see. But overall, as soon as the story's over, they'll go back to calling it even. And they'll forget that the Republican crowd just cheered the shooting of reporters. And when the next issue of violence comes up, they'll say, oh, both sides do it. Both sides do it. And they won't tell you, no, Republicans do it literally hundreds of times more. The Republicans cheer the violence. They'll just go back to, he said, she said, what am I, a reporter? I can't tell. So
Cenk,
there we are.
You're gonna love this. I don't know if you saw this yet, because he tweeted it at 8:30 a.m. Chris Matthews tweeted the following, and it's been ratioed. Trump is right to show respect for RBG. True presidential behavior, far too rare. So what he's referring to is how Donald Trump is gonna wait until after the funeral services for RBG in order to announce his Supreme Court pick.
No, I just look.
True presidential behavior.
Now, with guys like Chris Matthews, I really don't know. Nah, they're just not that bright. I mean, they've been in this environment for the last 40 years, and they still think it's 1973. Nobody has to tell Chris Matthews to say silly things. He says them naturally. That's why they picked him in the first place. That's why they kept him on TV for like 30 straight years. Because when the Republicans need him, here is a so-called, I mean, Chris Matthews doesn't hide that he's a Democrat. So-called Democratic pundit coming out and going, oh my God, can you believe that? Yeah, he's being so presidential. Finally, after 3 3/4 years, this is the moment when Trump became president. And by the way, so why do I say stupid instead of just wrong? You don't know that he's waiting to see what the Federalist Society is going to say, what the different Republican senators and congressmen are going to say, what his pollsters are going to say about how much picking one of the judges is going to help him in Florida versus how much picking the other judge is going to help him with evangelical voters, and that he's waiting for the polling to come in and for everybody to weigh in on the Republican side. And you really think he's doing it out of respect for RBG's funeral? How can anybody be that naive? And that's Chris Matthews, and that's television pundits in a nutshell.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.